Welcome back, part 2, the fix. So for a little over $10, I'll put a link in the description, I purchased one of these. It even comes in a quality package. And it gives you a knock sensor and a little harness that comes off a Maxima. So same one wire, even in fact the same color wire even. Gives me a little pigtail to extend the factory wire harness on the vehicle. I think we're gonna cut this end off and do the same on there and find a cool little spot for this knock sensor. So pretty much all it is. Let's get to it. First things first, we're gonna take this little clip off so you guys can kind of see that. So I don't wanna have the sensor and the harness together. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sneak behind. It's a little awkward to do with the camera position the way that it is. I'm just basically dig a pick behind and then without losing it, just lift up on that little tab and then off comes your connector. So we can set this guy aside and we can concentrate on our wire harness. Okay folks, so here's what we're gonna do. If you watch part 1, you'll understand what all this stuff is here. It's been setting for a bit, so I believe, just based upon what I see in service information and such, plus our wire colors, that where this harness goes down past this last fuel injector is where it goes to the knock sensor. So I think, just in case, I'm more than likely going to probably unwrap it here where this tape is, or cut it here, just in case we have to reconnect something and put it back the way that it was, or make a repair to it in the future or something like that. So might even cut perhaps here, it'd be a little bit easier. So that's what we'll do. Just cut through a little of this tape here, see what we get. The key is off, obviously. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. So it looks like we got a little ferrite bead on our fuel injector here. That's good. It's actually kind of a nice touch. Kind of helps avoid some EMI backfeeding into things. Now that this tape is out, you can kind of see where we've isolated our knock sensor wire. It is the only shielded one left, and of course disappears down into the never never land of the engine under the intake manifold. Which I guess, if you think about it, in theory is probably a fairly good place for it, but in practice with a apparently rather failure prone part, may not be the best place for it. So you can't get rid of some of this tape and some of this conduit here. Okay, so there we are. Looks like as good a place as any to put our splice right there. Snap. Okay, and that is definitely a shielded wire, so got the right one. Next, what we're gonna do, sorry if I keep bumping you guys, this is kind of a precarious position with all this stuff on top of the engine. But what we'll do, should be a coax, it almost looked like. coax type of shield on it. We'll just gently strip off the outer blackness. And it's a coax without a braided shield. Just stranded. So that's actually a lot easier to repair, I think. Just gonna get all those little hairs all on one side. Strip the middle. Okay, sweet. Hopefully you can kind of see what we did there. We're gonna do the same to the brand new connector harness thing that we bought. So before we get all hog wild on this connector, I think I might want to use it again at a later date. So it looks like they taped it together, so I won't put it in my little collection of connector ends that I got. So I'm not gonna lop the old wires off the end of it just yet. What I am gonna do is cut through some of this tape they put on there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Just gentle. That is some sticky tape. Figure out what they did here. Oh, I see what they did here. Okay. All right, it's a little different than what I was expecting. No big deal. This explains the use of all this tape. Now you can see what they did. Is they actually have this split out into two wires with a wrap around it. So I was thinking it was just two wires because it goes down to one over here on this end, and thought, well, recycle that connector or something later on. So, well, I guess we'll just kind of trim it off, like maybe here. Make sure we're doing the right end. And then, oh yeah, okay, sweet, yep, that does work. Just kind of pull that off and get this connector with about 1.5 inches of wire coming out of it, which is kind of nice. This guy here, I think what we'll do, trim his tape. This doesn't look like split loom. So what I'm going to do is actually slide this down towards the plug. Oh, they didn't shield any of this. Okay, I gotcha. This isn't shielded. I was thinking it's coax. So, all right, for what that's worth, they just cut the little black wire off right there. So, okay, well, whatever. Do this a little bit different. We can't cut it a little more than just sitting here and tearing it. And we did. Okay, sweet. Try once, try again. So there we go. We actually do not need the black wire whatsoever because they've cut it off. So we're gonna do exactly the same. All that good stuff. While we're waiting for the soldering iron to warm up, I figured we should ohm out our knock sensor. So you can see 500 to 620,000 ohms. Auto range, baby. We're just gonna go, actually technically I guess we could go between the chassis and the pin, but whatever. We'll just ohm out between these two pins. I got 560,000 ohms. So that's within 500 to 620,000 ohms at 560. So near as I can tell, we have a good part here. Never hurts to check. And just make before you ask, I'm gonna put some split loom on this. I think it's just gonna be easier. I'll make that go plus about halfway, half and half. Twist her all on and around. Looked for my heat shrink. Can't find it. We'll just use some liquid electrical tape, I suppose. That's interesting. Make sure that looks good. Yep. Okay, you don't want to get that bottom wire too hot and have the shield melt through. So we got to be kind of a little bit careful on that. I'm just gonna grab an ohm meter real quick. Just do a quick continuity check. Make sure that is not the case. Go from center to shield, nothing. We'll go just for good measure. Shield to ground. That's good. One last time before we button her up. We'll go from center to shield. Everything's good. Throw ourselves a little tape on this. Oh, I got some big roll. So we're just gonna cut ourselves a little piece. Gingerly wrap that up good. Suppose we could use liquid electrical tape on it too. Whatever suits your fancy, I suppose. Pretty happy with this 3M tape, so I think we'll call that good. Where my knife went. Oh, it's over here. Make sure you guys can see. Okay, slicing right there should be good. Got the little score. Okay, and I'm thinking we'll probably just put the little knock sensor, right there. Probably just need a longer bolt. That'll look fairly factory. If we paint some dirt on it, it'd look really factory. Up next, we'll throw a little tape around the end. Using the Super 33 Plus by Scotch. It's more sticky than the, how do I want to call it? Economical electrical tape, if you will. Just give her a wrap on the end of that. Probably give it one more. For a little extra strength. And the actual wire itself. Inside. There we go. That lets that flex move. So what I'm going to do now, just kind of like what Nissan did, is I'm going to, this fuel line is just precisely in the way. Kind of wrap all this stuff back up the way it once was. Suppose we could unplug our last injector. I think all the clips on these things are broke too. Because you'd never have to replace fuel injectors in a Nissan. Ever. That's not true. I'd like to wrap back on it a little bit, and we shall cut. Awesome. And there we go. Plug our, well, this little guy will kind of just let him be there for a minute. Plug our injector back in. Yeah, no click. That's too bad. Okay, and this guy is ready to come up here, and hopefully you guys can see that. Yep. And plug in. Maybe it will even be awesome and kind of run him underneath. Whatever makes it look more factory, I suppose. So nothing's tugged, anything like that. Once we make sure it works, we'll rewrap all of that stuff. What we're going to do now is flatten this little ear out best we can, or bend the bracket down, whichever suits your fancy. And just below flush. Perfect. It's like an M6 1.0. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a bolt that's a little bit longer. My thought is that pokes down through the knock sensor and is approximately that long, so we're going to be a few threads shorter, so shouldn't bottom out, crack the manifold or anything silly like that. Might put a little, they have a Loctite on this. Let's do it later. Later, they say. Always later. See if it works. We'll Loctite it if it works. Okay. Ooh, she's snug. Oh, I like that. All right. Hang on. The old connector facing the right way. There we are. Okay. All right. Now, I'm gonna go grab a scan tool and see if I can find some data PIDs for that. Okay, folks, we're gonna go ahead and clear the codes out of this thing. You can see we got our two knock sensor codes. Clear. Codes didn't clear. Oh boy. For some reason you gotta use a global OBD on this OTC tool for some reason, so doesn't seem to like to use manufacturer specific, so. Okay, let's go for a ride. We'll make sure to run over the tripod too. Oh, there we go. Okay, folks. For our several lap toots around the parking lot, and trouble code did not reset. So if you watched part one, you'd see the parts where we had took 2 laps around the parking lot and it set this code, and we were able to duplicate that concern. So that's odd. Oh, that's nice. Let's see what we got in data stream here. This is very typical with this tool on this vehicle here, so I don't think we'll have anything freeze frame. We cleared the codes. Again, this scan tool has been horribly unhelpful on this vehicle. Kind of a thumbs down to Bosch on it, personally, and we paid a lot of money for it. Maybe I just don't know how to use it, but yeah, it's kind of unlikely. So anyway, that's it. All right, just one more time, viewers. We're back probed into the ECM again, and here you can see my knock sensor. I'll hit the throttle. Pardon the shaky camera. You can definitely see that we have feedback from it now, where we didn't have anything before. We'll go back here into diagnostic trouble codes, and everything's nice and clear. So I'm gonna retape everything up good and unback probe the ECM, put the cheesy little cover back on it and all of that other good stuff, and we'll say that's fixed. Well, there's your 200% confirmed fix. Confirm number one, we tootled around the parking lot twice. That's what we needed to do to set the code the first time. Confirm number two is we looked at data live on the oscilloscope. Scan tool wasn't really that helpful for us. We used it to make sure there were no DTCs or anything else left in this thing. So that is all good. And like they say, there's your problem, lady. Thanks to Jessie for this mug. I like it. Little America, Wyoming, America. So there's a shop that she runs, his mother runs, and there's the information for it right down there at the bottom. If you want to get yourself one of those, I fill this with coffee and Mountain Dew and all sorts of other stuff. Anyway, if you liked what we did, be sure to give us the thumbs up, leave us a comment, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done that. I would appreciate that very much. We'll keep these videos coming. And as always, thanks for watching.